There's something beautiful and powerful about a woman in her 60s. She's lived, she's loved, she's sacrificed. She knows who she is. But let's be honest, there are parts of her body and her life that aren't talked about enough. Especially when it comes to intimacy. Not just with a partner, but with herself. Her comfort, her confidence, her inner glow. And yet, too many women enter this chapter of life thinking the best of their sensuality, their vitality, their connection to their feminine self, is behind them. But here's the truth I want you to hear loud and clear: it's not. I had a patient, Linda, who sat across from me one afternoon, her hands folded in her lap, hesitant but curious. She was 66, widowed, still active, still full of life, but something inside her had gone quiet. "Dr. Jansen," she said softly, "I thought I knew everything about my body by now. But lately, it's like I don't even recognize myself down there. Dryness, sensitivity, I don't feel like me anymore." That moment has stayed with me. Not because Linda's story was unusual, but because it was so common. I'm Dr. Robert Jansen, and for over 30 years, I've worked with women navigating the changes that come after 60, not just on the surface, but intimately. Because your intimate wellness is part of your whole wellness. And when you feel good there, confident, comfortable, connected, it changes how you carry yourself through the rest of your life. Today, I want to share what I've seen transform the lives of so many women just like Linda. 5 intimate self-care secrets, simple, practical habits, that many women wish they'd discovered years earlier. And we're going to start with the first one today. But before I tell you what it is, let me share what happened to Linda. Because her journey, like so many others, didn't start with a medication or a procedure. It started with a conversation. See, Linda thought what she was experiencing was simply what happens at this age. She'd been told by friends that intimacy just stops after menopause. That dryness and discomfort were things to just get used to. That self-pleasure, sensuality, even feeling sexy, were things for younger women. That message is everywhere, and it's completely wrong. So the first secret I shared with Linda was this: moisture is not a luxury, it's essential. Yes, I'm talking about intimate moisturizers. Daily, nourishing hydration, not the kind you reach for only when things are uncomfortable, but the kind you use proactively, the way you might moisturize your face or your hands. Your vaginal tissue, especially after menopause, becomes thinner, drier, and more sensitive because of the natural drop in estrogen. But that doesn't mean you're broken. It just means your body needs a little more care. So I recommended a clean, hormone-free vaginal moisturizer. Something with hyaluronic acid or vitamin E. Linda started using it every evening after her shower, like a ritual. And within 2 weeks, she told me something had changed, not just physically, but emotionally. "I don't feel brittle anymore," she said. "I feel soft again, feminine, like I'm still allowed to care for that part of myself." And you are. This is the first and most powerful step toward reclaiming your intimate wellness. Caring for yourself gently and consistently. Not waiting until things feel wrong, but nurturing your body every day because you deserve to feel comfortable, confident, and whole. If you're finding this message helpful so far, go ahead and tap the like button. It helps other women find this kind of empowering, honest advice. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and tap the bell icon so you don't miss the rest of this conversation. I share real women's stories and the best advice I've gathered over decades in practice. And I'd love to hear from you too. Leave a comment below. Just a simple yes if this speaks to you, or no if you've never thought about this kind of self-care. I do read every single response. Now, here's the thing about this first step. It's not about getting back to who you were at 30. It's about honoring who you are now. A woman with wisdom, with softness, with courage. And when you begin to care for yourself intimately, daily, lovingly, you're sending a message to your body. You still matter. Let me tell you what happened with Linda. After a few weeks of using her moisturizer, she came back into my office. But this time, she was smiling. "I've started wearing silk again," she laughed. "I'd forgotten how nice it feels." She wasn't talking about sex. She was talking about being in her body again. She started moving more, walking with better posture, wearing colors she hadn't worn in years. All because she felt good in her own skin again. That's the quiet, powerful shift that happens when women reclaim their intimate health. And I want that for you too. This journey isn't about fixing. It's about remembering that you are still vibrant, still worthy of care, still allowed to feel beautiful, inside and out. All it takes is one gentle step at a time. So there Linda was, smiling, wearing silk, carrying herself differently. And all because she decided to care for a part of herself that the world had told her to ignore. That first secret, daily intimate moisturizing, set something in motion. A quiet kind of transformation. And once that door opened, the rest began to follow naturally. The second self-care secret I shared with Linda was this: movement is medicine for your pelvis. Now, that might sound a little surprising. Most women think of exercise in terms of weight, heart health, or keeping the joints limber. But when it comes to your intimate health, especially after 60, movement plays a much more specific, powerful role. What kind of movement, you ask? We're talking about pelvic floor awareness. Now don't worry, I'm not about to tell you to hit the gym or take up running marathons. What I'm talking about are simple, intentional movements that gently engage the muscles that support your bladder, uterus, and vaginal canal. These muscles tend to weaken with age, especially after childbirth or if you've spent a lot of time sitting, which many of us do as we get older. Linda, for example, had no idea how tight and tired her pelvic muscles had become. She just knew she felt tense. "It's like my lower body is holding its breath," she said. And honestly, that's exactly what was happening. So I taught her a simple 3-minute morning routine. She didn't even have to leave her bed. Just a few gentle pelvic tilts while lying down. A soft engagement of the pelvic floor, what many call a Kegel, but done slowly, with breath. Not squeezing hard, but gently lifting and releasing. Like a wave rising and falling. We paired it with her breath. Inhale through the nose, then as she exhaled, a soft lift of the pelvic muscles. That's it. What this does is increase blood flow to the entire pelvic region. It stimulates healthy tissue response, supports bladder control, and, very importantly, it enhances sensation. That's right. The more blood you bring to those tissues, the more they awaken. After about 2 weeks, Linda came back and said, "I didn't realize how numb I'd become. Not emotionally, but physically. Now I'm starting to feel things again." That's no small thing. You see, intimacy after 60 isn't about trying to recreate youth. It's about rediscovering comfort, warmth, and yes, feeling. And you deserve to feel good. Not just when you're with someone else, but when you're alone. When you're walking, sitting, sleeping, living in your own skin. And that's what pelvic floor movement does. It brings life back to where it's been quiet. And when combined with daily moisturizing, it creates a 1-2 punch of healing. Nourish the tissues, then move the muscles. That's where the magic begins. Now, I know that some women feel embarrassed or unsure about these kinds of exercises. But let me say this plainly, you're not doing anything shameful. You're taking care of the part of your body that brought life into the world. The part of you that's held your strength through every season of your life. It deserves love and attention. If this message is resonating with you so far, go ahead and tap the like button. It helps more women discover these small, powerful habits. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that too. This channel is here to support you through every stage with honesty, respect, and care. And if this part of the message speaks to you, drop a quick "yes" in the comments, or "no" if you've never thought about pelvic floor movement before. Your responses help me guide future videos, and I really do read every one. Now, Linda didn't stop there. Once she'd established her moisturizing routine and added her gentle pelvic movement, she told me something beautiful. "I feel like I'm walking differently now," she said. "I'm not rushing. I'm not shrinking. I'm grounded." That's the word she used, grounded. And that's exactly what happens when we reconnect with the parts of ourselves that have been ignored. We stop floating. We come back to ourselves. This brings me to the third self-care secret, which I'll gently introduce here because it fits naturally: conscious touch. Now don't worry, this isn't a lecture on self-pleasure, though we will talk about that later. This is about touching your body with intention. For many women over 60, especially those who've been through grief, divorce, or years of caregiving, touch becomes something rare. Or even forgotten. But your skin is still alive. Your body is still listening. And when you take time, even just 5 minutes, to gently place your hands over your abdomen, your thighs, your hips, and yes, even your chest, something beautiful happens. Your nervous system calms. Your tension softens. You remember that you are still here. I asked Linda to take a few minutes before bed, right after applying her moisturizer, to simply rest her hands on her lower belly. Not to fix anything, just to be present, to breathe, to feel. At first, she said it felt silly. But after a few nights, she started looking forward to it. It makes me feel like I'm tucking myself in, she said. And I thought that was just perfect. You see, this isn't about vanity. It's not about seduction. It's about connection. To your own body. To your own comfort. To your own sense of worthiness. And if no one else has told you this recently, let me say it now. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to feel cared for. And it's not too late to start. It was a crisp Monday morning when Linda returned for her next check-in. She walked into my office in a lavender sweater, her hair tucked neatly behind her ears, and a warmth in her expression that I hadn't seen before. She sat down, crossed her legs gently, and said, "Dr. Jansen, I don't know what's happening, but I feel softer. Not weak, just open again." That word, open, it says so much. Because intimacy after 60 isn't about proving anything. It's not about going back in time. It's about staying open to life, open to sensation, and open to yourself. By now, Linda had made moisturizing part of her evening ritual. She was practicing gentle pelvic movement in the mornings. And she had begun approaching her body with kindness and presence through simple, conscious touch. These weren't dramatic changes, but they were consistent, loving ones. And they laid the foundation for the fourth self-care secret. A secret I believe every woman over 60 should embrace. Self-pleasure is self-care. Now, I want to say this carefully and respectfully, because I know how private this subject is. But if we're being honest, and I believe we should be honest in this space, this is one of the most healing, empowering habits a woman can bring into her life in this season. Linda was hesitant at first. "It feels strange," she said, "to even think about that at my age. I thought those days were over. But the truth is, those days don't have to be over. Not if you don't want them to be. Let me explain why this matters, not just physically, but emotionally and hormonally. When you engage in gentle self-pleasure, you're doing more than just stimulating sensation. You're releasing a cascade of feel-good hormones, oxytocin, dopamine, even small amounts of estrogen, that support your mood, your sleep, and your sense of well-being. You're also increasing blood flow to the pelvic region, helping to keep tissues supple, responsive, and alive. And perhaps most importantly, you're sending a message to yourself that you are still worthy of pleasure. Not because someone else says so, not because you have a partner, but because your body still belongs to you. I encouraged Linda to approach this not with pressure or performance in mind, but with curiosity and care. Start with breath, with comfort, with light touch, no goal, no rush, just the intention to connect. And as she began exploring this part of her self-care, she discovered something beautiful. "It's not even about the climax," she told me. "It's about feeling like I'm home in my body again. That's the heart of it, isn't it?" So many women, after years of caregiving, grief, or long marriages where intimacy faded, become strangers in their own skin. Self-pleasure becomes a way to return home, to rediscover what brings comfort, what brings warmth, what brings joy, even in solitude. I know some of you might be feeling unsure right now. Maybe this is something you've never done. Or maybe it's something you stopped doing long ago. But let me assure you, there is no age limit on sensuality. There is no expiration date on connection. Your body is still capable of joy, of softness, of spark, even now, especially now. And if this message is speaking to you, if it's opening a door you didn't even realize had been closed, go ahead and tap that like button. It helps this video reach more women who might really need to hear this. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and tap the bell icon. Every week, I share new insights designed to support your health, your confidence, and your sense of self in this remarkable season of life. And if you feel comfortable, leave a comment below. A simple, yes, if this resonates. Or, no, if you're still on the fence. Either way, your voice matters. I read every single one. And your openness helps shape this space into one of compassion and respect. Let's return to Linda's journey. After several weeks of gently exploring her body through self-pleasure, combined with her moisturizing, movement, and breathwork, she said something that nearly brought me to tears. "Dr. Jansen," she said, I finally feel like I have a relationship with myself again. That, right there, is what this work is all about. It's not about fixing what time has changed. It's about nurturing what still remains, and discovering the new joys that only this stage of life can bring. There's a sacredness in knowing yourself, in learning your body not as it once was, but as it is now. And making peace with it, celebrating it, even delighting in it. That's not selfish. That's not shameful. That's wise. That's brave. That's self-care in its purest form. So whether you're in a relationship or single, whether you've been touched recently or not in years, this step is available to you. It doesn't require anyone else's permission. Just your willingness to listen to your own needs, to explore your own comfort, to meet yourself with love. You deserve that. You've earned it. And it's not too late, not by a long shot. Linda came in one last time a few months after we first began this journey. Her steps were lighter, her face was brighter, and her smile, well, it said everything. She sat down and said, "Dr. Jansen, I never imagined I'd feel this at this stage of life. Not just physical comfort, but this peace, this warmth inside." And that brings us to the fifth and final self-care secret that women over 60 often wish they'd discovered sooner. It's one that brings all the others together. And it's this: you must give yourself permission. Permission to slow down. Permission to feel. Permission to take up space in your own body. Permission to say, "I matter." Because without that, even the best advice can fall flat. Moisturizers stay in the drawer. Movements are forgotten. Touch feels unfamiliar. Desire feels like a memory. But when you give yourself permission to care, to explore, to love yourself as you are, everything begins to change. That's what happened with Linda. What started as a shy, uncertain visit turned into a beautiful journey of reconnection. Not with some younger version of herself, but with the woman she is now. And that woman is wise, sensual, vibrant, and very much alive. Let me say this clearly: there is no expiration date on your worth. And there is no deadline for joy. It's not too late because of a number on your birthday cake. And you haven't missed your chance. Your body may be different now, but it's still yours. And it's still capable of healing, of pleasure, of peace. So, what does giving yourself permission look like? For some women, it's letting go of guilt. Guilt for wanting to feel good. Guilt for focusing on themselves after years of caring for others. Guilt for exploring intimacy again, alone or with a partner. For others, it's about setting boundaries. Saying no to things that drain your energy, and yes to practices that nourish your soul and body. And sometimes, it's as simple as saying, "I deserve to be well. I deserve to feel beautiful. I deserve to take care of myself, even intimately." You'd be amazed how many women I've sat with, strong, smart, nurturing women, who never once gave themselves permission to feel sensual without shame. Women who lived entire lives putting everyone else first. And when they finally took a moment to come home to themselves, the relief, the joy, the softness was overwhelming. Linda told me, "I wish I had known all of this in my 50s. But I'm just grateful I know it now." And that's the heart of this whole conversation. It doesn't matter if you're 60, 70, or 85. The door to intimacy with yourself, emotional, physical, even spiritual, is always open. It just needs a little attention, a little care, and a gentle nudge from someone who sees your worth, even when the world doesn't talk about this enough. So let's revisit the journey. You started by nourishing your tissues, daily moisturizing that brought softness and comfort back. You added gentle pelvic movement to awaken circulation and reconnect with your core. You explored conscious touch, not for someone else's gaze, but for your own sense of peace. You reintroduced self-pleasure as self-care to awaken joy, comfort, and emotional release. And now, you embrace the final step, giving yourself permission to continue showing up for yourself every day. If you've made it this far in the video, I want to thank you. You've stayed with a conversation that many people still shy away from. And that tells me something important about you. You're open, you're courageous, and you're ready. So if this message has meant something to you, would you gently tap the like button? It helps this video reach other women who need this exact reminder. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and tap the bell icon, because we're building a community here. A space where women in their 60s and beyond are honored, supported, and celebrated. And I'd truly love to hear from you. Leave a comment below. Just, yes, if something in this video touched your heart. Or, no, if you're still finding your way. You're not alone. I read every word, and I carry your stories with me into every video I create. Linda's story, like so many others, reminds me of something powerful. When a woman reconnects with herself after 60, she doesn't just change her body, she changes her whole energy. Her presence deepens, her voice softens, but with strength. She carries herself not with apology, but with quiet pride. That's what I want for you. You are not invisible. You are not past your prime. You are not finished. You are blooming in a new season. And every act of self-care, especially intimate self-care, is a way of watering that bloom. I'm Dr. Robert Jansen, and I want to thank you for letting me walk beside you on this journey. Take care of your heart. Take care of your body. And most importantly, take care of the woman within. She is still here, and she is still worthy of everything beautiful.